You gotta turn off the my record. What's up? What's up? What's up? It's the 2Dawgs Sports Talk Show coming at you this Tuesday afternoon where it's hot in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Y'all know how it is in August and July, and every time in Oklahoma, it seems like you can go outside and fry eggs because it's so hot out here. But hey, it's the 2Dawgs Sports Talk Show, and my co-host is not here today. He had family emergency, and all my prayers go out to my co-host, because this is something major. Um, but my prayers and thoughts goes out to him, and the KBOB family prayers and thoughts goes out to my co-host, and hopefully he'll be back soon. But I told him, hey, don't you bring your behind up in this studio, because I know him. He would have tried to come into the studio, and I told him no. And then I told his wife. If you tell the wife, she'll get it under control. But hey, like we said last week, once again, we want to give our disclaimer. Training camp started for NFL teams today. You got one more team, which I believe is the Pittsburgh Steelers. They report tomorrow. But other than that, training camp has started. So wives, like we said last week, you have about 3 to 4 weeks to get those honey-do lists done. Because all the men and the men that have wives that love sports, that the men don't, those honey-do lists need to get done because on football season, you got to wait till February. Because football is on Monday, it's on Wednesday, it's on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So you might have one day you can get something done. But other than that, don't even look this way. Because you had 6 months to get all the shopping done, take them to the grocery store, go to Sam's, go everywhere you need to go. Well, it's football season, baby. And that's what we do. When football season starts, we watch sports. I understand. My wife is the same way. Every year, we've been married going on 20 years. She asked me the same question. Is football season going to be over? She knows when football season is over. She knows in February. But I get the same question. You watching football again this week? Yes, I'm watching football. Every day. Almost every day. Some days I don't. But hey, get it in. Let's get it done. Hey, but we got a hot show for you today. We have some awesome high school coaches. This is High School Roundup Part 3. We have the coach from the Union Red. I'm about to say Redskins, so I'm so used to doing it. It's Red Hawks. We got the Memorial Chargers, and we got the Jink Trojans. And then we have the Edison Eagles coach. He's running a little bit late. He should be here. We got a hot show for you today. When we get back, we want to get started, and we want to talk ball here on the 2Dawgs Sports Talk Show. Just hit that song. Yeah.
Good setup in here.
Yeah, it's nice. We used
to for guests and everything, all the time.
Yeah, we used to be in a house which used to be an old barbershop, and then they moved over here, and so this is where we've been.
Yeah.
which is nice. It's a nice little setup, nice little area.
You've been doing it a while. How long have you been doing it?
We've been doing this. This will be our fourth year.
Yeah.
Um, when they started the radio station, I asked them did they have anything sports related. They said no. They said, "Do you want to do it?" I said, "Sure."
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know what I was doing, but I know I love to talk sports.
Yeah.
So
That's easy.
I've been doing it now. We're going. This will be our fourth year. We was one of the first shows here,
Yeah.
and I love it.
Yeah.
I love it because I can talk football, basketball. I really don't. We don't really talk a lot of baseball,
Mm-hmm.
but football, basketball, boxing, we talk all day long,
Mm-hmm.
and we bring in different guests. We've had Billy Sims on. We've had Marcus Dupree,
Yeah.
J.C. Watts, Jamel Holloway, Robert Meacham, Felix Jones. Um, we've had Chris Harris on, um, Ryan Humphrey. So we've had quite a bit of people
Mm-hmm.
on the show, and they've been coming and they've been doing it. We had Donald Driver on before,
Yeah.
and I enjoy it.
Yeah. That's
I
good.
enjoy it a great deal. Oh, you can go to commercial. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Meet coaches, meet players. Um, being able to talk to players, instill things in
Yeah.
players. I love it.
Make connections.
Yeah, I love it. Which I come from a sports background, from my uncle playing football at OU, and
Mm-hmm.
my brother playing football at Central, and so it's just
Yeah.
been in me. So
Yeah.
I enjoyed it a great deal, and it gave me an excuse because my wife she don't like sports. If they got rid of sports today, she'll be happy.
Yeah.
So it gave me an excuse to be able to watch sports.
Yeah. I got to.
Yeah, yeah. So we do this, and then I work for a nonprofit, sickle cell.
Mm-hmm.
So we're the organization that serves the entire state of Oklahoma with sickle cell disease,
Mm-hmm.
and so in my off time from doing this, that's
Yeah.
what I do.
I bet Tina's the same way as Sheree is sometimes. My wife will, when does football start? When do you go back to work?
Yeah.
He's the same way.
Yeah.
My wife and I
Definitely
dated,
cause it.
we dated a full football season before we got married. She didn't complain one time during football season. I'm like, that's when I'm married. And here we are, like 30 years later. So,
Yeah. Season's over. She calls it re-entry.
yes. Just step out for a month or so.
Yeah.
One more?
Yeah, do one more.
Did you win the belt and did you go Florida this
I
year?
did.
You got the belt back?
Yes. I hadn't had it for 2 years.
I know.
And brought it back. Played some of the best golf I've ever played.
Did you guys do the Bailey thing this year?
No, because they shut down.
That's what Jeff told
Yeah.
me that it was just not in very good shape.
Yeah. I have a big golf tournament with my brother-in-law. And it's a grudge match.
Let's play another song. Play a song coming back.
It's grown into a big deal.
Well, they were both like
Family.
family know that who has the belt. Tom Rusty coming in. It's
Oh, yeah. We have.
Welcome back to the $2 Sports Talk Show here on KBOB 89.9 FM. All right, everybody. August 19th, we have the Spreading Hope Back to School Bash. We're celebrating 10 years of this bash. It's August 19th from 11 to 2 p.m. at B.S. Roberts Park and at Langston University, Tulsa. That is 914 North Greenwood Avenue, Tulsa, Oklahoma 74106. Registration opens at 10:30 a.m. Hey, you don't want to miss this event. They're going to be giving out over 1,200 backpacks, field backpacks. We'll have IEP 504 classes. We'll have Big Kids Zone. We have over 40 plus community agencies that will be out here. So it's like a one-stop shop. So anything that you need for your children, we will have vaccines. We will have any eye tests, health screenings, anything that you need for your children. It will be here at this event. You don't want to miss it. This is a free event for children and youth with unique needs, disabilities, and all families. It's not just for children with unique needs, but we focus on children with unique needs. But all children are welcome. Like I said, you'll get school supplies, backpacks, health and education resources, food, and family fun. You don't want to miss it. The free classes from 11:30 to 12 p.m. Oklahoma Parent Center will have a class called Understanding IEP and 504. From 12 to 12:30, we have a disability law class. It lets you know your disability rights. And from 12:30 to 1 p.m., it's a disability service. Hey, you don't want to miss this. This is sponsored by Supporters of Family with Sickle Cell Disease and our partners, EduRec Youth and Family Fund Center and KBOV 89.9 FM. Some of our sponsors we have is Pepsi, Oklahoma State Department of Health, the Food Bank, Tulsa Public Schools, Tulsa Health Department, Drexel Academy, 100 Black Men of Tulsa, Healthy Start, Historical Greenwood District, the Juice Radio Show. Hey, you don't want to miss this event. So make sure you put it on your calendar, August 19th, 2023, from 11 to 2 p.m. And if you listen and you want to donate, you can go to www.sicklecelloklahoma.org and you can donate that away. Or if you want to bring school supplies, you can bring it to the KBOV office. And I will give you that address because I do not remember the address right now, but I'm going to give it to you. You can donate there. And if you have any questions, call 918-619-6174, 918-619-6174. All right, here we go. We got these hot coaches on, and y'all know who they are. We have Coach Fred from the Union Red Hawks. We have Coach Coon from the Memorial Chargers, and we have Coach Riggs from the Jinx Trojans. We're going to start right here with Coach Fred. Introduce yourself, Coach.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me. Coach Frederick, I've been at Union now, getting ready to start year 17, and been coaching for, 33 years, somewhere around there. It's been a long time, but really this time of year, we're all getting ready to get it kicked off here real soon. You can tell because it's freaking hot outside. Yeah. But I appreciate you having me on here and love being around these guys. I actually, Coach Coombs and I coached together for several years, so this is kind of fun to be with him as well.
Okay, introduce yourself, Coach Coombs.
Hey, my name is Brandon Coombs. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Tulsa Memorial Football. I am actually an alumni, class of '88, so we're going way back. Like with Coach Fred, I don't know how many years this is. I know it's 30 plus years. I've been doing this around for a long time. First year at Memorial as a head football coach over there, and just happy to be here.
Coach Riggs.
Yeah, thank you for having me as well. Keith Riggs, head coach at Jinx High School. Getting ready to start my 21st football season at Jinx.
Wow.
Got out of the business world and into coaching 21 years ago, and haven't looked back since.
Okay. All right, we're gonna start the questions right here. Now, Coach Fred, this is, I can't even count how many years because you had my son when he played over there, and they've been out of school. I don't know how many years, 8, 9, one of them, and you've been over at Union for years. What is it? What makes you want to keep coming back each year coaching at Union?
Well, Union's a great place to be, but just in general, just coaching is, several years ago, I had my nephews, I graduated from Shawnee High School, and my sister had some kids that went through, and a daughter and a couple of boys that played football, And I just remember listening to my sister get so upset about their senior year and how, man, it's over. And you don't, and she was telling me, you don't understand how hard this is, you know, when it's finally over. And I started thinking, as a parent, I probably don't fully understand that because at that time my son hadn't gone all the way through it. But I actually did because it's, you know, you get to know these kids, these coaches will attest, you get to know these kids and you watch them for several years and you see them overcome obstacles and get better. And so it's not the same as, but it is emotional. It is, you get a bond and a tie with the kid. And even though we do it year after year after year, and you're like, man, you've done it this many times, it's really only one time that we get to do it with this team this year. It's really only one time that these seniors, this is their senior year. So it's their one time. And it may feel like our 17th time to get it going, but this is their once. And for me, that's fun to experience that senior year with that kid that you've seen since 8th or 9th grade grow up through the program. So to me, I get excited about it every year because it feels like the same cycle and the same thing, but it's always new because that's a new team this year.
Same thing with you, Coach Cone. Now, you say you've been 21 years. This is your first year at Memorial. Understanding the challenges that you have with coaching a Tulsa Public Schools football team, what made you want to say, I wanted to take on that challenge and hit it head on?
Well, for me, again, it's an opportunity to go back home. I mean, I graduated from 1988. I live just down the street. I'm part of the community. And I've told myself for years, even as long as I was with Fred, I've been doing it for 14, 15 years, that Memorial job ever opens up, I'm gonna go back home. And so an opportunity to go back home, and I love being around those kids. And Tulsa Public Schools, there's some really good kids over there, and they deserve. And I'm not saying that they deserve me, but they deserve somebody that's that cares about. And kind of the same thing. I don't do it just for the football. I do it to be around these young men and help them grow up to be, part of the community once they leave high school.
Okay. Now, Coach Riggs, you've been at Jinx 21 years. The same thing, because you was an assistant and then you took over as the head coach after a legendary coach. What made you say, okay? It's like I look at it as like someone taking over Tom Brady, and now you got to step in those shoes, and the level of expectation is there. What made you say, okay, I'm gonna tackle this level of expectation head on?
Well, following Allen is no easy task. I had plenty of people tell me that it was a bad idea, right? You don't ever follow a legend. But I really didn't look at it that way. And kind of to piggyback on what Coach Fred said, we all love to win, but we do it for our kids. There is nothing better than watching and helping kids become young men. And I certainly learned that from Coach Trimble. And more than anything, I was hopeful when he decided to retire that I would be able to carry on the things that he had established and built, and the tradition and the legacy, and doing things, running the program the way he did. And that's what drew me to applying for the head coach job is to try to just carry on what he had done. And nobody's going to do it like he does or did. But we're going to give it our best shot.
Okay. Now, Coach Fred, last year, you all came this close to getting there. You started off slow in the game, but your players fought back hard. Mm-hmm. How do you carry that over to this season, to these players that's coming in? I know it's a whole different crop, but a lot of these players as seniors this year, they were there. So how do you carry that over from being so close to going ahead and finishing?
Well, it's, unfortunately, if you do this long enough, you're going to have experience in not winning the championship. It's just one of those things that it gets so close, and how do you rebound? How do you come back from that? And you're exactly right. A really tough loss in the semifinals last year, and to have that great group of kids be right there, and those are tough things to overcome. But I think that with the guys that are coming back that had experienced that, whether they had the playing time or not, they were on the side. Some of the guys were on the sideline. They know what that felt like, because when I tell people all the time, a football season's kind of like that favorite pet that you have. I mean, when you first get that dog or whatever, you grow to love that dog. But if you were to ask somebody, hey, I'm sorry that my dog passed away, that's upsetting, and you're like, yeah, but it's not like a family member, and they're like, no, it was part of my family.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be insensitive, but to the person, it's their dog,
Right.
and I mean, I think a football team and a football season is a lot like that. I mean, there's a grieving period, and you grow to love that group. And I think it's in what your senior class leaves, and the group of kids that are coming up and saying, I don't want to feel the way they felt, I don't want to go through that. I want to leave something. I think we all sit here and understand what that's like. But for us, you look and you see those underclassmen. I mean, 2 days later, they're out there on the field and they're just trying to process, the loss, and they don't know anything else but to go back to work. And as coaches, it's the same thing. I mean, the sooner you go back to work, the better it is, and you start trying to figure out how to rebuild it and try not to make those same mistakes.
Now, Coach Kuhn, you taking over Memorial Squad that each year they are looked at to be one of the good teams in Tulsa Public Schools to go a long way, but they never reach that goal. Something always derails them. What is it that you bringing to the table to help them go past that hump?
Well, when I took over, one of the things we talked about with kids is we sat down as a group, and I asked them, I said, what do you guys think needs to be done differently with this program? Why are we struggling to win football games? And we were actually, 3 games that we lost last year were within one score in the third quarter, and we found a way to lose again. And I know, at Union, one of our mottos was for a long time, they find a way to win. And these kids found a way to lose. So we addressed that with them. And one of the other things they talked about was everybody we play is stronger than us. So we immediately, back in November, started the process of an off-season program. And, again, I'm fortunate enough to be at a great program like Union and learn from a lot of great strength and conditioning guys. And we've implemented a lot of that over there. And we're a lot stronger than we were a year ago, for sure. So it's just, it's a process. It's going to take a little while. Just change the mind frame of the kids. Last Thursday, we had 40 kids out for an off-season workout.
Wow.
It was fantastic. And last year the numbers weren't even close to that. And so the kids are buying it. So it's going to be a process. And I'll tell you the same thing I tell everybody else. I can't promise wins and losses, but I can promise it's going to be done a little bit better. And the kids are going to be better and have more fun during the process.
Okay. Now, Coach Riggs, last year, you all were the, if you want to say, the team that nobody thought about. You all was flying under the radar, so to speak, for Jinx. How do you care? Because you all went further than some people I talked about that thought Jinx was going to go. How do you take that and carry it over to this year?
Well, with the injuries we had last year, a lot of people kind of counted us out. And so really proud of our kids and how they responded. We had some young guys that got thrust into duty that probably weren't ready, but they responded and grew up a bunch over the course of the season. And that's going to pay off this year. Those guys have a season under their belt. But, some of your best lessons are through adversity and through losses. And, we had some tough losses last year. And I think our guys learned from those. And like Coach Fred said, when you lose the last one, that really carries with you over to the next season, your kids and your coaches, and you remember that loss, and you want to do everything you can to not have that feeling again. And so I think our kids that are returning as starters from last year, uh, they know what it's like. They've been there, and they're going to help bring along our young guys that are the first time guys, the first year starters, and show them how it's supposed to be done and what it takes. There's such a fine line between winning and losing a football game when you have two really good football games. It oftentimes just boils down to 1, 2, 3 or 4 plays, that can change the outcome of the game. So you really, it takes a ton of hard work. It takes, some breaks, staying healthy. But, if you focus on those things you can control, those things that you can do to make your program better, to make your team better, ultimately you give yourself a shot when it comes to the end of the season in November.
Now in 6A1, this is the most parity I've seen in 6A football in a long time. Normally it's Jinx and Union, and that's it. And I can't say it no other way, because that's the way it always been. It's either Union winning or Jinx. There was no parity. Now you have parity with VA getting better, Bixby coming into 6A1, Union, Jinx, Owasso on this side of the state. What has that parity done for your practices? How the young people looked at this differently than saying, okay, we the big dogs, we ain't worried about nobody else at Jinx. What has it done for you all in your practices? So if you could, Fred.
Well, it's definitely done for the coaches. It's the coaches recognize that parity probably a lot faster than the kids do sometimes when you're trying to explain to them that. I think the biggest thing that happened when 6A split was everyone got better because they were constantly being tested each and every week. So in 6A1, when you had 6A all together, you may come up across a team that's might be struggling for a couple of years, and those are all gone now. I mean, those are things and it affect. I mean, I think Jinx and Union were constantly feeding off each other for many years, but now you start taking those teams that were finishing third or fourth in the district. It's not as easy to finish fourth anymore. It's those group of teams. So now when Mustang had to fight and claw to try to get into the playoffs, where in the past they might have, more easily gotten second or third, now they're fighting each and every week for that spot. All those 16 teams are strong. So when Union faces, the whole from top to bottom is strong. And so I think that parity has come around. And yeah, I think our kids understand that each and every year you used to say, hey, there's probably four teams that they're really going to challenge it. You could probably write the semifinal bracket down.
Right.
And you cannot do that now.
No.
I mean, you can't. But it's made it fun. I mean, it's stressful as the head coach.
It costs more gray hair.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about that. But I want to say it's fun. And it is because, we get in this to play the big games. I mean, people turn on ESPN. They turn it on to, they turn it on to watch the big one on Saturday night, right?
Right.
It's not. You might watch the Tuesday night, as you said. Everybody watches it every night of the week, but I mean, it's that Saturday night big game that we all want to watch, and you're definitely getting that in 6A1 now.
What you Coach Reed?
Agree completely. For a number of years, you go back 15, 20 years, and when it was primarily Jinx Union, when our teams played each other early in the season, right, we both exposed each other's weaknesses. We found out really quick where we weren't very good, where we needed to get better and fix some things. And those early season games are really important. Well, now with just 6A1, everybody's having those games early in the year and seeing the things, we have some issues we got to fix. And where before maybe some teams were playing teams that weren't as good, you could win and not expose those mistakes and maybe miss some things you need to work on and get better at. And so I think you're seeing that even, on the west side, those teams have gotten so much better, I think, since we split to 6A1. They haven't quite gotten over the top and won a state championship, but it's just a matter of time because they've all improved. There are teams that are not making the playoffs now that are really good. We faced a couple of them last year, so it is improving. On the one side, it's a lot of fun. You're preparing for a big game almost every week,
Yeah.
but you don't get that break every now and then where you can kind of go, okay, we can really just focus on us this week. And but our kids respond. We put them through an unbelievable amount of work and preparation, and they just come back for more and respond week to week. And I won't say I enjoy it as we're going through the season, but when you look back, right, I have a hard time enjoying in the moment. But when you reflect back after a season, you think of all the special moments, the big games, the big plays your kids made. It is a lot of fun when you reflect back.
Now, it reminds me of the SEC because now that they're going in 2024, you had OU in Texas. There is not an easy week. You all starting off the bat playing. And the crazy thing is not for district play. And you all starting out like I believe is Owasso in Bixby, week 1 at TU. That was unheard of.
Mhm.
And now you got it, and it's like you don't, like you said, you don't have those pushover games anymore. You have to come ready to play from jump.
Yeah, I'm glad Coach Riggs admitted that it was stressful to him. So oh,
now,
I think
now,
on the
Coach
same
Coon,
page there.
now, Coach Coon, you and differences with Tulsa Public Schools is that you all are so split up, and so you don't have the talent pool to pull from that Jinx, Union, Broken Arrow do. But the teams that you all playing, they're all in one school. And how does that make your job even more difficult? Because a lot of these teams, like you playing like Veneta and all these small towns, they've been playing together since they were in Pee Wee. How does that make it difficult for you to get your players ready to play?
Well, one of our district opponents this year again is McAllister. So I know exactly what you're talking about. Great program, very small town that kids grow up in the system. That's one of the big differences I found out with in Tulsa public schools and opposed to Jason Union. They have their youth programs that they rely on those coaches to kind of help get those kids prepared. So when they do get to the junior high and get to the high school, Tulsa doesn't really have that. And I know we're trying to start one. One of our guys that's a booster is trying to start a youth program. We're the Little Chargers, and hopefully that can get going, and then we can start from there. Yeah, it's difficult. It is difficult. You talk about the talent pool, and I was talking to our trainer this morning, and we're standing there looking at these guys working out, and uh, I don't think the talent is much different from just about anywhere else. It's the numbers. And, I know being over at Union, the competition and practice every single day. Those kids push each other to get better. And Tulsa likes that, just with mere numbers. But it's the talent is there. I've got a handful of kids that they're going to shock some people this year, just on their athletic ability. So.
Well, that's one of the things I say having big numbers to choose from, it doesn't really affect basketball as big, but football, when you have 200 young people out there, and you can choose from the best of the best, that makes a world of difference on the football field. Because basketball, you only can play 5. So your best 5 against someone else's best 5, it can be equal. But Union's best 22 against Booker T's best 22, to me it's more like apples to oranges because the vast majority of people that Union or Jinx or Broken Arrow can choose from. When you have a class of my son just graduated from Union this year, their class was over 1,100. That's Tulsa Public Schools. You might get a class of 50 in a school. So that's over 1,000 more students that you can choose from to play football field. So I think it's so different in Tulsa schools. There is a Jinx with some of the same problems that you might have at Tulsa schools. You have at Jinx. And so when we get back from this break, we're going to talk about some of the problems that you all might have inside your school, inside your program that are similar to everybody else. We'll be right back on the $2 Sports Talk Show.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah. And I tell people all the time, it's such a difference when you're choosing from in football. Because basketball, I can get 12 good players, and I can match my 12 against Union 12 because that's all we can choose from. So you're getting the best of the best. Well, when you in football, you have a wide variety of players. So you might have 10 running backs you can choose from that can go on any stage, any school, and start.
Well, one of the things is that my number two is the drop off is quite a bit.
Yeah.
At a school that has more kids, their number two is that guy might every bit as good, just that guy does something a little bit better.
Yeah, they can go 3 or 4 deep. Yeah.
And in most public schools, when there's 40, 50 kids out there, you're not going that deep.
You playing both. Most of your players are playing both ways. Except maybe your quarterback.
You're talking about that. I got a corner he'll be a sophomore. He's 5'2", 106 pounds. And but that kid fights. He's there every day. He works hard. He's a great kid. And we're actually starting a wrestling program back up. And I said, "You're wrestling. You're going to be a state champion."
Yeah. See, and sometimes you wonder where do these schools? Because we had Isaiah Archery on. He's the number one lineman in Mississippi. He's going to OU next year. 6'7", 289 pounds. He's just a senior in high school. He got one more year.
That's crazy.
Where do you find? He eats 6 times a day. I'm like, where do you find players like this? I like I said, I've been around Union and they had big players, but I've never seen nobody 6'7", 289 pounds.
We don't have anybody that looks like that.
No, not at all.
Yeah. He'll be at OU next year.
You talk about recruiting, and sometimes you have to have your eyes opened up, like because we look at our small area, and you go to some of these all-star deals, and you're like, okay, that's what a 5-star kid looks like. But within your area, you're like, our kid's really good.
Yeah.
He got to be a 5-star, and you're like, well, no, he ain't.
Right. He's nothing like that one right there.
I love it, but
yeah. I have my doctor. His son goes to Holland Hall, and they just came from a football camp in Texas, and he said what was down there was just crazy.
Yeah.
What you're dealing with, and size wise, and just skill wise, is we got good players here, but it does not compare to what you see in these other schools.
Yeah, when you have that 4 or 5 stars like that, you know
you have. Yeah.
Just the size of those. A lot of times I look at some of those free safeties and stuff, those camps, and like, I've been kidding defensive end. He's 225 pounds.
Yeah. Because I look at about the time he get to OU, they put him on a weight program. He'll probably be about 305. And I'm like, that is just crazy. But yeah. Because he's not real. He's when you look at him, he's not real fat. He don't have no fat on him. He's real lean and trim. But he's just humongous. I'm like, Lord, what are they feeding you down there? Yeah. He loved to fish. He's just a straight country boy. He said that's one of the things that made him want to come to OU. Besides his cousin, then Marcus Dupree, he wanted to come to OU because he said it just felt like home. He loved to fish. He loved to hunt. He loved to do all that stuff. And
not too big.
Yeah. So, but 6'7", 289. I said, boy, Lord have mercy. I hate to be up against you. That's a load. I know he was telling a story about uh, one time he wasn't playing because the team that they were playing was inferior. His mama came to the locker room and chewed him smooth out because he wasn't playing up to par. They said that second half he played like a madman.
Mama knows.
Welcome back to the $2 Sports Talk Show here on KBOB. Once again, make sure y'all come to the Spreading Hope Back to School Bash. This is year 10, August 19, 2023, from 11 to 2 p.m. at V.S. Roberts Park in Langston University, Tulsa. That is 914 North Greenwood Avenue, Tulsa, Oklahoma 74106. Registration starts at 10:30. Do not come thinking you can get a backpack soon as it starts. Backpacks are not handed out until the end of the event because we want you to take part in all the festivities and everything that they have out there. They work real hard to get these vendors and these community agencies out there. So they want to make sure that you get what you need for the school year for your students. Free food, free backpacks, free health screenings, free classes. The whole day is just nothing but free. So make sure y'all come out August 19th, 2023, from 11 to 2 p.m. at the V.S. Roberts Park, Langston University. That address is 914 North Greenwood Avenue, Tulsa, Oklahoma, 74106. All right, like I said, we have our coaches back here, and we must talk about some similarities that they might have. And we're going to start with Coach Coon. Coach Coon, you have so much here at Tulsa Public Schools. When I talk to coaches, they talk about some of the things that they have to do um, extra because of the clientele and the students the population that they deal with. What are some of those things that you've experienced that you never thought that you would experience that you had to do at Tulsa Public Schools since you've been there this year?
Well, kind of the first thing, taking over the program, realizing that how much money we don't have and how much money it takes to run a program, and just starting all the fundraisers, and we didn't really have a booster club, and so we started up a booster club, and I have 6 or 7 that are showing up on a regular basis that are learning how to do things. They've never been a part of it either. So we're all with the learning curve. We're all going through that process right now. But the kids have stepped up. A lot of the parents have stepped up, and we've met our goals for the summer and for the season. And next year we'll just continue to go. But that's probably the biggest obstacle within the program is just funding.
Now, Coach Fred, everybody think at Union and Jinx that you all just made of money. But what they don't understand that you all have fundraisers and because of some of the students, people think that people that stay in those areas they just rich and everything, but that's not necessarily true. What are some of the things that you have experienced since integration of people that are on housing and things of that nature that you have to deal with at Union?
Yeah, I've seen some of the changes. I was an assistant coach there for 9 years back in the 90s, and then left to be a head coach, and I was gone about 5 years, and now being there 17 years. I've seen the way that South Tulsa and the way that the community has changed some, and probably most people don't realize that Union is 70% free and reduced lunch. As a school, we have over 50 languages that are spoken
Wow.
within our school district. You want to talk diversity, you have it. But I'm extremely proud of our school because they stayed on top of facilities. They've stayed on top of things to provide for our kids, and the goals that we set 10 years ago we want 100% of our kids to graduate college and career ready, and just finding ways, no matter what the obstacle is, to help our kids. And so I'm really proud of what they are. Our graduation rate is, compared to, like I said, the diversity we have, we can match up with anybody nationwide with what we're providing for our kids. And but for football wise, it's definitely, some things have changed, some adjustments have changed. I've had to understand, what really happens in family dynamics. I mean, I think I've become much wiser, things. And you have to be careful as a coach, because the standard is still the same. It takes what it takes. Whoever said that is exactly right. I mean, it takes what it takes. And the standard has to stay the same, but, having tolerance or understanding how we do it. I think it was the coach that was at Syracuse, Dino Babers, or I can't remember, but I really like what he said. He said that we need kids to take vitamins. If they need to eat their spinach. And he goes, some people get so caught up on making sure they eat their spinach, and he goes, you put sugar on it, they'll eat it. And people, then people get so caught up on, well, we had to give them sugar to do it. Well, the end result was we wanted them to eat the spinach. So some of the things I've had to learn, and some of my wisdom is there a way to get them to meet that standard, regardless of obstacles? But what can we do to help them? And our whole deal, we tell our coaches all the time, is we have a standard here. I believe you can meet it, and I mean, and trying to encourage them to, when you fall short, here's your standard, and I believe you can still meet it, and here's where you need to be. And so what can we do to try to, now, we coach our kids hard. I mean, we get after them, and we're not making excuses, but I definitely, some of that, open the lens a little bit and see where kids are coming from.
Yeah. Because one thing, Coach Kuhn, is that a lot of people think that, well, they in Jinx and Union District, they have 2-parent homes. But one thing that's similar between Tulsa Public Schools and Jinx or Broken Arrow or whatever, a lot of the children, they don't have a father in the home. No matter what area they're in, they might have just a mother. How do you adjust and deal with that on the football field to learn 120 players and trying to figure out, okay, who has a mother, who has a father, what's the dynamics? How do you go about doing that with so many players?
Well, yeah, we have several that are in 1-parent homes, and that brings on some amazing challenges. I think back, when my wife would travel for a week, and I was kind of a single dad just for a week, and I couldn't do it. I mean, it was just, I was counting the minutes until she was back, right, to get some help. So, man, what a challenge it is for parents that, they're the only parent in the home, and it creates some challenges for your kids too. And just like Coach Fred said, we have standards that we expect our kids to meet, but I think you also have to understand that life happens. There are things in life that are more important than football. And our priorities for our program, and Coach Trimble established this long ago, faith, family, academics, then football. All 4 of those things are really important, but if you don't have the things in front of football in order, the football part's not going to be right. So while we strive for excellence and to meet our standards every day, and we work our kids really hard, sometimes life happens, and we need to be there for our kids to help them through whatever it is, and our parents as well. So, and I think it takes your entire staff, to help when you have 100 kids on your roster. They've all got to be involved and invested and develop those relationships. So when a young man is having trouble, he feels comfortable coming and talking to us so that we can help.
Okay. Now, let's talk about this year. This is a new season for everybody. Who is that one player that you have on offense? I'm one to say games are won in the trenches. It's between those linemen. That's where the game is won. You got all your so-called smart skill players. Well, I think some of the smartest players is playing defense and offensive line for what they have to do. who is the defensive offensive line that colleges need to look at, need to be looking out for on your teams? Let's start with you, Coach Fred.
Yeah, it's we've got a lot of youth in that in both of those lines, and you know I couldn't be more proud of the group of guys. Coach Jones, Jess Jones, has done a great job working with these kids for the last couple of years, and Coach Moore, our strength coach, Coach Young, offensive line coach, Coach Brown, Coach Mashburn. I feel really good about the young. Like, there's a bigger group of kids that are coming through. We've got a couple of returning starters. Coach Jones' son is a guy that is a junior right now. But we've got. It's interesting. We were just talking about today. Is there's 4 or 5 seniors in there that are just waiting for their opportunity. To step in and play. And so as a unit, I feel like they're playing really well. And you ask for names, and it's sometimes you're looking at it and you're going, man, these guys they're all about the same. I think Trey Barnes is a guy on the defensive line that will be a 3-year starter for us. Every time I think about Trey is he's he doesn't look that great. Maybe not have the best body or whatever. I hope he's not listening, but but he is so. I fell in love with him watching him play intramural basketball. When you got a kid that can bring the ball down the court and he can dribble, and he literally can. Play like a point guard, and he's a 275-pound defensive lineman. You got something. He's a guy that's really athletic, and Coach Rigg, I'm gonna tell you his jersey number, all right? So, but I'm really proud of him and how he's going. He's one of those guys. Some of these kids had to grow through COVID. We think about it wasn't that long ago, and he's had to figure out how to change his study skills and those kinds of things, and just a lot of growth. We used to call him 3-day Trey. He'd show up 3 days a week. And so now he's every day. He's just. But so I've seen a lot of growth in those kids, and a lot of those vertically challenged kids, those guys that are 5'10", 5'11", but man, they are freaking playing hard and love those kids.
Coach Coon?
Well, it's kind of the same thing with Coach Fred. It's hard to just really kind of pick out one guy. We're going to be pretty young up front. Most of our skill guys are seniors, but up front, we're going to have a lot of sophomores and juniors out there. But the one senior that does kind of stand out, and he was featured in Invite over the last couple of weeks, Davion Esco. He's one of those kids that has bought into what we're trying to do, and he's there every day. He works hard. I think he was a state qualifier for the shot puts. He's just a great kid, and he works hard. And that's one kid that deserves an opportunity for schools to come look at him. I think he would love to go play some college football, and I'm sure they all have their dream of going playing D1 football and playing for a national championship. And some of these kids just go, I will play college football somewhere. And I think Davion Esco is one of my kids that can do that up front.
Okay. Coach Coon? Coach Riggs?
Defensively, we played a lot of seniors on the defensive line last year. The one guy that was not Hudson Ball started as sophomore. And I mentioned earlier we had some sophomores that had to play because of injuries. Well, he wasn't one of them. He was going to play no matter what. He's that type of kid. And he's undersized really to play inside, but can play every position, from nose guard out to the defensive end. He can even, play a non-technique and drop into coverage. He's got some really diverse skills. And so we're really excited about his junior year coming up. And, one of the great things about this time of year is you're moving into the season, because those other spots are kind of up for grabs right now. And watching that develop and those kids compete is a lot of fun, and when they compete for a spot, they all get better. And so we're going to have several guys competing for those other spots, along with Hudson. Offensively, we had probably, I think, 8 or 9 offensive line starters last year at different times for various injuries. So we got several guys that have starts under their belt. Gavin Kirby, um, he's only 6'2", but he's going to be a 3-year starter at Jinx and can play every position on the offensive line. So I think it really kind of starts with him. And again, we're going to have a bunch of guys competing for those other spots that have a little bit of experience, but haven't, necessarily been through a whole year. Lucas Houston started all of last year, but the other guys, haven't been gotten a full year of start. So it's going to be a lot of fun to watch those guys develop and compete this fall.
Okay. I want to thank you all for coming on the show. Before we get off here, we always have our guests take 30 seconds to a minute to say some positive words. And so I want each one of you all to take 30 seconds to a minute to say positive words to our audience, because we never know who's listening. What young person might be listening, or just some adult that might be listening that might need some positive words. And so we'll start right here with you, Coach Fred, and give us 30 seconds to a minute of some positive words.
Well, when you ask that question, the first thing that comes to me is life's a journey, and we feel like with our team, we're trying to develop people to become champions, and we hope that they'll give us an opportunity to win a championship. But I think you become a champion in life before those types of results come. And in order to do that, we've got 5 core values, and the first one's courage. You got to have courage to do anything. And the interesting thing about courage is we always talk about all these courageous people in life, and man, boy, but they didn't know the outcome when they were being courageous. And we have to step out in faith, and we have to look at faith, and those are the things. To be courageous, to be one of those people who say, man, I really acted in faith and in courage. You have to step out and do it, even though you don't know what that outcome might be. So to me, I would say, hey, let's tell your story someday and say, man, that guy was courageous at that moment in life. He took a risk. He took that. He stepped out and moved forward from it.
All right, Coach Coon.
Well, I'll just share kind of what we've taken on as our team motto this off season, and that's just be right. Whatever it is in life, not just in football, whatever it is in life. For these young men in the classroom, be right. In the hallways, be right. Outside of school, be right. And it just kind of started with, some of the kids. Well, Coach, what do I need to do to be right today? And I'm like, show up, be on time, dress out, work hard. I mean, that's it. And that applies in all aspects of life. If you can do that, things are going to be okay.
Okay, Coach Reed.
Yeah, it's something we talked about with our young guys who, sophomores coming into a program. It's hard, right? You're now for the first time playing with kids older than you, and there's a lot more challenges than you're used to. And, we talk about, we have to be urgent in our actions, patient in results. If you put in the work, and this applies to life, not just football, but, if you're urgent about your actions, if you're urgent about putting in the work and doing things the right way, the results will come. They don't always come right away, but sometimes it just takes a little more time to see the results, but you got to keep putting in the work.
All right, I want to thank y'all. Before you, smoke beef bologna, yes or no? Smoke beef bologna, Coach Reed?
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
I'm a brisket guy.
Hold on, time out, Coach. You can't stay in Oklahoma and not eat smoked beef bologna.
I didn't say I wouldn't eat it.
Okay.
It's good stuff.
Okay. All right. There we go. All right. Hey, I want to thank y'all for listening to $2 Sports Talk Show here on $2 Sports Talk Show. And I want to thank Coach Fred, Coach Coon, and Coach Riggs, some awesome coaches here in the Tulsa area for being on the show. Make sure you tune in next week. We will have Kewan Parker from the University of Tulsa, Oklahoma. He will be on the show next week. He's Tulsa's very own. He's traveled. He went to Arkansas, transferred to Arkansas, went to Mexico State. Now he's back home playing for the University of Tulsa, Mr. Kewan Parker. Make sure y'all tune in next week. Same time, same place. You bark at us, we bark back. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you all.
Appreciate you,
Appreciate
man.
it.
Thank
Appreciate
you very
it.
much.
Thank you.
You bet.
Thank you. Let's take a picture real
Yeah,
quick.
that'd be awesome. Where do you want to do it?
We're gonna go right over here.
All right.
Where we going?
Right, we're gonna close this door. We can do it right. I'll do it right here. We know here's the place. Carl,
I went out. Don't fall directions.
Gotta turn sideways. This is skinny side thing. Close. It's all good.
I'm gonna ask you like that. How many fish did you catch? Yes. You wearing a Bass Pro hat. I figured you
Oh.
No, that's just the style.
I say that to Coach Scarborough all the time. Coach will come in and goes, "Hey, Coach." And then he finally came in. Howard Scarborough, he came in and he goes, "Coach, I went fishing with my father-in-law. He has a little boy." He goes, "It cost something." I said, "That's awesome. I bet he'd never even fish with us." I said, "How'd you get it off the hook?" He goes, "My father-in-law did." I said, you lost your dad's car, right? Your son caught a fish and you didn't take it off the hook."
Parker sees Howard. I'm gonna tell Parker.
Yeah.
That's the style. My son don't fish a day in his life. They wear that.
Oh yeah. I got 'em. I know. They got 'em all the time.
I don't get
They,
it.
they just look good.
It looks good, doesn't it?
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
All right. Appreciate it.
Hey, thank you very much.
Good to see you.
Have a
Good
good
luck this season.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good luck there. Hey, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Then the song goes on in the stream.
Yeah, just fade it out. Fade it out. Yeah. You can just put it on. Okay. Go right there. You close everything out. Okay. So 2Dawgs out.